Hi, everybody. Karl Casgard calling you from Nanton, Alberta, and Halifax 57 Rescue. We've got all new kinds of fun things, preparatory things for doing our recovery of the Halifax from Sweden underwater. On the home front, we've got the rebuild shop. Today, we've got our good buddy Gustav, the skipper of River Thames. He's going to be coming along, telling us all about what's been going on with the tugboat. So, gentlemen, I see you with us on the split screen, and welcome, Scott, and welcome, Gustav. Great to have you on. And I'll just begin by telling you about all of the stuff that's been going on here. Over the past 2 weeks, I was at the rebuild shop helping Scott. And I call him Mother because he's very good at supervising and keeping things going. Yes, and that's his supervisory tool there. Let's start off here in Nanton, Alberta. And I wanted to tell you about, we'll show you some images, but I have been able to come up with an engineering solution for the great big steel blocks that go on the engine shaft of the Bristol Hercules. They're called a spider, and there's 3 spokes come out of the spider. It goes on the engine shaft, and then you put the propeller blades on the spider. And we've come up with a beautiful engineering solution of modifying a 1950s spider and propeller blades. And Scott, I just received those the other day from Toccoa Engineering, and he's done a beautiful job of slightly downsizing the spiders so that they fit the propeller blades. Then on top of that, as soon as I knew that this spider could be modified to take 1950s propeller blades, these 1950s propeller blades, they look exactly like Halifax bomber blades from World War II. And lo and behold, I have found 16 to 20 brand new propeller blades in crates that could be used for our modification. So, I'm very pleased about that, because that was an engineering solution that was really mystifying us of how will we do this in the coming months and years. So that's good. And one more thing, yesterday we had our first engine runs of the season with the Bristol Hercules engine on our engine run trailer here in Nanton. And she fired right up. And after she cleared her throat and got rid of 2 giant clouds of oil smoke, she ran great. And also the Lancaster of the Bomber Command Museum ran yesterday. So everything was good on the home front. And so lots of things happening here, big stuff, small stuff at Nanton. But Scott, how'd you like to fill in the folks that are watching today about the rebuild shop and all the wing rebuild that you're doing there at Arnprior, Ontario? So Scott, give us a fill in, man.
Yeah, sure. Since the last time we got together a couple of weeks ago, we finished all these stiffeners. So these horizontal lines you see behind me, those are the stiffeners between the ribs. That keeps the ribs nice and structurally integral to the whole assembly. And no, so the ribs are all done. Sorry, the stiffeners are all done. Ribs are all done. Spars are all done. Now we can start to skin. So you can see behind me, that's the first wing skin going back on. There'll be 4 of these altogether. So it's a pretty laborious project. We have to lay this, well, first off, cut the skin to a rough size, lay the skin on, and then start drilling. It's hundreds of holes. And then we're securing the skin temporarily with Cleco fasteners as we drill the holes for the number 4 rivets that we're going to be going in, the next few weeks. So making good progress. I have a jig for doing the drilling, so it makes it pretty quick. But yeah, it's a pretty laborious task. It's all about setup, right? Once you get everything set up, it goes pretty quick. It's all that setup time. Even just cutting this sheet to the right width takes a lot of setup on the bench and get it all, dimensionally correct. These, by the way, are bloody expensive. These sheets now, aluminum is crazy. I was able to find 2 sheets of T6 aluminum between Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa. These are $450 a pop currently. Last year they were half that price. So and we can't even find more. I mean, we're on the lookout. My suppliers are on the lookout. Hopefully we'll get a couple more sheets when we need them. But yeah, I mean, that could conceivably hold things up if we can't get more T6. So anyways, that's the status. Things are progressing, at pace. And it's really nice to see the skin on, it starts to look like a wing again. And this is the starboard side. Port side's already done. As I've said in previous videos, and in a few more weeks, we should be done the starboard side.
That's great. Well, thank you, Scott. And yeah, you and I sort of packaged up that Hercules engine block demo unit, the super rare item that you were able to scrounge out of the middle of nowhere in Ottawa. And so that will be coming out next week. And then we can show folks how the Bristol Hercules works, because that demo unit, you can crank the engine block and see the sleeve going up and down on this Hercules demo unit. So that's going to be a cute little trinket. Now, let's go on to Gustav. Gustav, you know what? There's an English word for I like what you have, and it's called covet. And I like what's behind you, sticking out of the back of your head. Is that looks like, yeah.
It's a goalie stick.
No, it's one of those things I spent 6 years looking for. It's a propeller blade. So Gustav, it must be a good scrounger because he found it. But Gustav, tell us about all the great things you and your son and your whole team, they've really been busting your buns to get the River Thames tugboat ready. So just give us a quick rundown, and then I might ask you a couple of questions. So go ahead, man.
Well, we have been busy, the crew of the River Thames, all winter here, working on various projects. And you and I talked about the anchor winch once before, and we've actually been working on the anchor winch, the hydraulic anchor winch, for almost 2 years now. But last week, we managed to finish it and do the final harbor testing. And it was not very easy because we had to one by one replace the pressure relief valve on the hydraulic power pack, and then we had to replace the maneuvering valve for the anchor winch, and we had more faults to find, so we also had to replace the hydraulic motor on the anchor winch. And all components here are second hand, because that's what our budget is. It is buying good old stuff and then renovating it and then testing it on board. So now we are ready for the sea trial with the anchor winch, but we know that the anchor winch itself is welded on the deck, and we know that it's working, and we know that it has hundreds and hundreds of kilograms of pulling force in the chain. So so far so good. So now we have the time to go on to the next project for the Halifax, which is the diving compressor. And today I got the new second-hand, completely rebuilt Merino Bauer 320 liter per minute diving compressor back in the workshop.
Cool.
So now I have it out here, and we will start preparing for the installation on the ship.
Well, that's great. Now, Gustav, did you and I talk about that we would keep the old compressor for a while just as plan B? Or do you want to take the old compressor out for filling the divers' tanks and just go with the new one?
Yeah, well, Karl, keeping backup is always nice, but last summer we had 2 or 3 breakdowns on the old compressor, and I think that I believe that what we will do is that we will give this new compressor a thorough testing when it's on board. And if it proves that nothing's wrong with it, then we will go with only that compressor. And I know that the supplier in Copenhagen that sold us this compressor, he will be our backup, because we can trust that his word for that is working. So
Great, great. Now, Gustav, Scott has made mention of whenever we need stuff to do our rebuild, to our recovery, sometimes it costs hard money. And can you explain? I don't think we need to keep secrets here. Can you explain how you purchased the compressor, and can you give us a rough idea of the cost to have this diver tank compressor on the tugboat? Because people need to know we're not doing this for free, and this is costing us on all fronts. So I think people should know about the realities of going after a bomber that's underwater.
Yeah, well, this is not cheap equipment. This is really good, high quality, heavy duty equipment. A compressor like this, if you buy it from new, it would cost 150,000 Danish kroner. But this one we got at a fairly good price. So we paid less than 40,000 Danish kroner for it, and that's a very good price. So we have been talking to the supplier and, explaining him about this important project and saving the history, and he has been very helpful with a good price on this.
Great, great. Now let's just review. You wanted the River Thames to be really ready to go, and so you brought the River Thames up to dry dock, and your guys went over it, and I think we should review that with you. And I think you must have got a pound or two of mussels and barnacles off your hull. Tell us about cleaning up the River Thames.
Yeah, sure. About a couple of months ago, we went on a slipway with the River Thames. Remember that last summer when we were out on the Halifax rescue, we got a big piece of rope in the propeller, and that actually caused some damage to the propeller. We broke off some small parts of the propeller tips, and we also kind of bent one of the blades a bit.
Wow.
And a bend like that, plus the tips of the propeller are damaged, it makes vibration, and it decreases the efficiency of the propeller a lot. So that was one of the tasks we had to do on the slipway.
Now, the other thing so the propeller's been balanced, repaired, and it looks so bright and shiny new. And you also did some work on the rudder, and did you make a special spot on the hull for the side scan sonar that we have got?
Yeah. Besides of the propeller job, where we had to remove the rudder and then take off the propeller, get it renovated and put it back on again, we cleaned the complete hull and repainted it with anti-fouling. And we also checked it with a hammer, for spots that were thin, corrosion. And then we cut a hole in the hull, and then we welded a steel block into the hull to fit the side scan sonar transducer into the hull, so that we get a clear picture of the bottom. So
Sure. So now, do you think the transducer, well, we know the transducer works good when we do a side mount on the side of the hull, as long as it's down below the bottom of the keel. But have you tested it yet? Or shall we do that when we go out on a cruise?
Yeah, we already tested it when we went back from the slipway, and it gives a nice picture underwater. So that's working, and we don't need to have this 2.53 meters stainless steel pipe sticking down in the water on the side of the ship. So that will make everything a little easier when we are going.
Sure. And now, folks, I need you to know, Gustav and his guys did such a good job on cleaning up the River Thames hull that it now goes, instead of It's 15% faster. Well, okay, Gustav, I'm lying, but it goes so fast that Gustav had to get that haircut so that it didn't blow in the wind when he's accelerating across the water. So, but no, that's great, Gustav. I'm glad you were able to spruce up the River Thames, and these are all great things. And Scott, we're going to make sure we get some flaps and some ailerons and some rear wing boxes. And I've also found a company in Canada that sells this reciprocating saw for underwater using electrical power. But Gustav, you and I need to talk about charging system for the batteries for the reciprocating saw. But you remember our difficulties at cutting thick aluminum alloy pieces underwater. It's not easy. And so those are all things. So Scott will continue in the trenches. Gustav is souping up the River Thames, so she's ready to go. I'll be speaking soon with Jan Christensen from Sweden, who is our chief diver from SCSC, and he's going to give me the lowdown on all of the diving team and the special preparations being made. And guess what? That includes food and beer for my guys. Gustav, I wanted to ask about how you feel about our team. We've got this great bunch of Danish, Swedish, and Canadian people all coming together. I guess I could call it nitroglycerin and the fuse. But how do you feel about this team now that you've watched them for a couple of seasons? What do you notice, and how do you feel about this team?
Well, this is a team put together with people who don't always know each other from the beginning. Some of us know each other, and then there's always some new people coming onto the boat and joining the team. But I really think that we have a great team, and everybody seems to be very eager to make everything work as easy as possible and to help each other. But also everybody does it in a very nice and good spirit. And it is very important when you are underwater that you know that the guys on the deck, when you come up, that they are there immediately to help you with anything, that they have your back when you're down there. So that is very important.
Yeah, well, I'm really enthused, and it's nice to see the family, the Three Nations team, develop into a big family of saving history. And folks, let me just tell you this: you do not go and recover a World War II bomber without having unique permissions and a unique team, and that's what we're doing. And Scott, I forgot to include you in there. You've been listening to this. Do you have any questions for Gustav just before we sign off? Because obviously you're going to utilize the treasure that we find.
Sure. Yeah, just a quick question, Gustav. The anchor winch you were referencing a while ago, what are you going to use that for?
Well, the anchor winch is kind of one of the most important safety features on a boat, because if you have like a breakdown on the main engine anywhere, what will happen if you are not able to use the anchor winch and put out the anchor is that you will drift onto the shore and you will wreck the ship. So therefore, the anchor winch is one of the most important pieces of safety equipment on board, you can say. Yeah.
So this is for the anchor, not for another task. It's not you haven't used it for a specialized purpose other than the anchor, right?
No, it's a general purpose piece of equipment that's very, very important. But this particular winch can be used in several ways, because it has a wheel where you can put a rope around the wheel, and then you can use the hydraulic power to pull
Wow.
something onto the ship, or you can move the ship when you are ashore somewhere. So it's not only an anchor winch, it's more like a multi-purpose winch, but primarily as an anchor winch. Yeah.
Perfect. Great. That's excellent. Thank you.
Well, that's great, guys. And so this is our latest update, folks. And you can see we got the talent, and we've got the drive and determination and good teamwork. And so what we need from you folks is we want to really be able to say, please donate. All of these items that we're acquiring, everything, we like to get it free. We like to get it donated. We like to pay wholesale, and we don't like to pay retail. So we're saving you money. But what we need from you guys is donations, please. So we're going to be spending $25,000 to $50,000 this coming summer on the water, and we're going to save as much treasure as we can. We're going to get it to Scott Knox in Arnprior so he can use it. And but we need your help. And in the coming weeks, as we get ready to launch this next expedition, we really would love to hear from you. You can go to our fundraiser 417498 site. You can donate there. You can donate at headquarters of the Bomber Command Museum of Canada, but you have to specify for the Halifax project. Any donation to the museum, you've got to say Halifax project. And we're going to save this airplane. We're going to go into the future, saving a bunch more history. You folks don't even know the beginning of what we're going to do next. But let's deal with this first recovery this summer. And thanks again for watching. And we hope to see you again soon. And we'll send out some new reports all about the dive team in the coming days. So thanks again, and we'll see you soon.